John,
Hello, Lee.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and
Is-
goodwill to all men and all
Yes.
that, and women,
Yes.
and all in between.
Yes. It's right now. It's Christmas Eve.
It is, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
crazy. God, it's another year gone.
Yeah.
God, it's
At least
crazy.
this year we can actually see each other face to face.
We can,
Yes.
yes, that's lovely. I mean, obviously things are a little bit
Dicey.
a bit dicey with the Omicron, which sounds like a transformer.
Do you know what's really funny? Okay, I've just been playing Final Fantasy 14. The new
Yes.
expansion was out, and it's fucking good, by the way. But anyway, they had some robots in it, and they were called the Omicrons, and I just stopped for 2 minutes. I was like, fuck, they're called the Omicrons.
Omicrons. See, it's genuinely. I remember when I first heard it. Literally, it is like that, isn't it? It's like a science fiction army coming for you
Oh, what did
in
I
the
think?
form of a virus.
What's the Transformer called? It sounds like Omicron.
Unicron.
Unicron, yeah.
Unicron, voiced by Orson Welles,
Yes.
if I might add.
Yes, it is.
Yes, but no, a very Merry Christmas,
Yeah.
Lee, to you and your family. I hope you have a good one.
And to you.
But yes, and I hope everyone else is staying safe and manages to see their loved ones and their friends and have a good time. And guys, let's just have a good time. Let's be sensible. Let's get boosted. I feel like I'm doing a government sponsorship here, but the sooner we get through this, the better, and we can all carry on enjoying our lives.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway,
Right. So I've got a for this one, I've got a live My Friend John Reacts.
quite frightened, but
So-
here we go.
I love a Christmas treat called Stalin cake.
Yes.
Stalin, not Stalin. Stalin.
Not Joseph Stalin's cakes.
It's a German dish, which is
Stalin.
like like a cakey thing. It's got raisins, marzipan,
Mhm.
and like candied peel in it and stuff.
Sounds delicious.
I think it's really nice. Do
Well-
it, John.
Okay, well I've got one in my hands right now, and I'm about to eat it. Should I put the whole thing in?
Yeah, go for whatever. Just take a bite if you want. I'm gonna
Okay,
do-
I'll put the whole thing in my mouth. Well, hey, Leah's also eating one right now. And just for the sake of dead air, I'm gonna wait until he finishes his.
Fair point.
And then of course, hear his verdict. I mean, obviously he's had these many times before, I imagine.
Yeah, I love Stalin cake,
You enjoy it?
but I love sweet things. So
Yeah. Right. Shall I?
yes, go for it.
All right. Here we go.
Let's have a look. Face pulling? I should actually get my phone and just, where's
Oh my.
oh my.
Oh.
How's it going, John? I mean, I don't know if this is the angle of the light, but you look a
It's
bit
an
red.
interesting experience because it's exactly what I thought it would taste like. Bizarrely enough. I don't know if it's the raisins I'm getting. Probably.
Probably, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not a lot of people like it,
I don't mind it. I understand if people don't like that.
but a lot of people don't like Christmas cake.
No, well, the thing is with me, I've never been one massively for Christmas cake. I mean, I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know if I've had Christmas pudding or not. I really don't know.
I like pudding, yeah.
But maybe we'll give that a go this year. Who knows?
Yeah.
But no. Stalin cake, not bad. Would recommend.
It's just gotta, it's like, they look like
There's a
cubes.
whole them. I will say this though. They're very sticky on the hands. So
Yes.
So get some wet wipes if you're gonna be if you're gonna be consuming a lot of them.
I'm just gonna
but,
post this video on Twitter at one point anyway.
Why not?
Why not?
Live.
Yes. Should have done that earlier, but
Oh, it's fine. But no, Stalin cake, no, not bad at all. Quite a
Mm.
pleasant experience.
Yeah.
You
fun.
know, very sweet though.
Oh
Very
yeah,
ni-
very, very sweet.
very sweet, very nice though.
It's one
Yeah,
of my favorite Christmas things.
absolutely.
No, this is one of my favorite Christmas things.
Home Alone.
Yeah, films, Christmas
Yeah.
films. I was gonna get to that, and you just put it right.
I'm so sorry. I always jump the gun.
Yeah, he does.
Sorry. What is one of your favorite Christmas things, Lee?
Okay, my favorite Christmas thing is films. I love Christmas films. So, on top my top Christmas films are like Die Hard, obviously.
Are you one of those people that consider Die Hard as a Christmas?
I've always considered Christmas. I mean, what was it? It's Christmas, Theo. It's a time for miracles. Like
It is.
it's Christmas.
Batman Returns in that same respect.
Yeah, not
Is
one
it
of my
Christmas?
favorites. Gremlins. I love
Gremlins.
Gremlins. Gremlins is a Christmas film to me.
Fun fact about Gremlins.
Yeah.
Our friend, excuse me, our mutual friend Will Smith.
Yes.
Not the Will Smith.
Will Smith.
A Will Smith.
But he's the Will Smith to us.
He is. He's a lovely man from Cornwall. He's a film producer, and he produces a lot of the stuff that we do.
Yeah.
His favorite film is Gremlins.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna have to talk about it
Isn't
one
that
time.
mad?
Yeah, Gremlins is a great film. I love Gremlins. Great Christmas film.
Never seen it.
Well, there's another my friend John in the weights there. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh, I see. Right, okay, with Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
I've
love
never
that
seen
film.
that either.
Really?
No.
Really good film. Christmas film.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's one of them films that's like, it's set around Christmas, but it's not.
But it's not really, kind of
It's
thing.
Die Hard, really, but I
Batman
always say Die
Returns,
is a
that
Christmas
sort of
film.
thing.
It's one of my favourites. And yes, the one I got you to watch today, Home Alone.
Home Alone, I'm so sorry.
Home Alone, the first one.
Yes.
Because, I mean, the second one's decent. It's just the same rehash thing, and then all the others should not exist.
Well, I've heard some love for the second one.
Yeah.
I have heard some love through various people who I've spoken to who have said that I was going to be watching Home Alone for this Christmas episode of the podcast.
Former President Trump's in it.
He is, yes. former US President Donald Trump is in the second one, and funnily enough, people say a lot of things about Donald Trump, but they do say what you like about him. He is the only person who helps Kevin McAllister.
Yeah.
In the
It's true.
It's true. Because he asks him where the
payphones are.
where the payphones
Yeah.
are, and he tells him.
Yeah.
So say what you like, but no, I've famously never seen Home Alone. Famously never seen Home Alone. There's a few films actually that I've not seen that like
Gremlins for one.
I've never seen Gremlins. I've never seen Home Alone until now.
Yeah.
But it was always a thing of like, it was one of those films, of course, that was like everyone's seen Home Alone. I think I'm the only person who hadn't seen Home Alone that I was aware of.
Me and my brother, like when we were kids, I think we've watched that hundreds of times. I think at one point we probably watched the film, rewound it, and watched it again.
Really?
Yeah, we love it.
Goodness me. I'll tell you why I hadn't saw it up until this point. Yes, so I think I was the only person I was aware of who hadn't seen Home Alone up until this point. Like everyone's seen it. It's like one of those films that that everyone's seen.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I never saw it. I just had absolutely no interest in it whatsoever. I'm not really a massive fan of sort of American 90s family films.
Yeah.
I just don't get them. I don't really see the appeal. I find them a bit nauseating. I find them very annoying. I don't know. It's just this whole thing of like they're all kind of the same to me, really. And I don't really get a lot from. I never have really gotten a lot from them. I don't know if that's just me being like a Scrooge or a Grinch or whatever, or it's just down to personal taste. I don't know, because there's a lot of Christmas films that I do like.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Elf. Even though like I remember talking about this at work, and people were like, "Oh, you like Elf?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Elf's good fun. It's good fun." The Die Hard, obviously, is a great movie. I'm trying to think of other Christmas films. Actually.
Jingle All the Way is a fun
Jingle
movie.
All the Way is a good laugh.
Yeah, it's a good laugh.
It's terrible, but it's brilliant, isn't it? It's just so wonderful.
That's just 90s Arnie films, really.
It is, yeah. That whole stream. What was I going to say? Oh yes, that was it. So of course, got to this episode of watching Home Alone, one of the first non-Japanese based things that I watched. So here we are in the West watching Home Alone. And I have written extensive notes.
Oh my good lord! I just saw you just flick your phone. There's so much.
I have written 3 3.1/3 pages of notes on Home Alone.
That's more than we did at uni.
Yep.
Strap yourself in, boys.
I've got quite a bit to say about Home Alone.
I'm going to enjoy this.
First of all, I would have left this child too.
I mean, fair.
I would have left Kevin McAllister at home as well. He is an annoying little shit. First of all, as well, that was it. That was the whole thing about Macaulay Culkin. I know he's only 8 years old in this movie, but he is the worst actor in this whole thing. He is terrible. He is a really, really bad actor, and I don't know if it's a combination of this whole thing of him being a sweet young innocent child who has to say literally everything in the script, like, a lovely cheese pizza just for me. This is my house. I have to defend it. And I'm like, oh my God. His scream is unbearable.
Which isn't a lot.
He screams all the time. That mirror. I'll get to that mirror bit in a bit, but I'll go through it in order. So yes, I would have left this child too. This is a gigantic family, living in one of these 90s American family film houses, where it doesn't matter what the family does, doesn't matter what their financial status is, they always live in these gigantic, like, mansion houses.
The dad's doing something. He must be
like
dealing drugs.
Literally, like, he must be a fucking drug dealer. Like, what the hell? Like, it's insane. They all seem to hate Macaulay Culkin for some reason. It's never really explicitly said why they hate him.
I mean, you can tell.
You can tell, though. You can tell. He's an annoying little shit who gets in the way all the time. And I'm like, yeah, I would have left this kid too. He's constantly whinging. He's constantly complaining. I'm like, can you not see that the parents are trying to, like, get packed for a flight? You know? And the older brother, you know, I know you're meant to hate him. Like, this bastard of a child. I loved him. I thought it was great. I thought he was like, yeah, just get out of my room. Like, because did you notice the way that he enters the room?
Yeah.
He sneaks behind him, like, sort of out of shot, like, almost. And it's like, what the hell's going on here? Like, why are you there? Like, why are you creeping, dude? You know?
Why are you creeping?
Why are you creeping? And of course, you get the obligatory, like, oh, it's the creepy old man from across the street. And initially, I thought, right, okay, the old man, he's either not going to be relevant at all to this whole thing, or there's going to be some kind of arc later on where he's not actually what you think he is, and he's going to save Macaulay Culkin in the end, which of course he does.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, it was really interesting to say that, because I was like, well, of course he's not a murderer, is he? Of course he's not none of these things that they say.
You know, I'm just thinking, right? You're an only child, right?
I certainly am.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I think this might be the differences.
That's probably why.
Because at one point I was probably the little shit who was slinking around my big brother's, like, bit.
Yeah. Maybe this is why so many people, like, love it so much.
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean?
Ask the people who said they love it, see if they've got siblings.
Yes. The majority of people I know, well, actually, no, I don't know if anyone said, like, they really like Home Alone. Like, I'll have to talk to people after about this movie. But anyway, so and then the cop. I was like, why is the cop here? Why is there a policeman just in the front, like, in the foyer of the house, in this gigantic house?
He's looking for the drugs.
He's looking for the drugs, exactly. And then it took me ages to realize that it was Joe Pesci. I was like, who is this policeman? Who is he? Oh fuck, it's Joe Pesci. Like, I was like, Jesus Christ, it's Joe Pesci. That's one of the reasons why this film's so revered, because it's got Macaulay Culkin and Joe Pesci in it. Amazing. In this gigantic 90s house.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, but then the kind of, like, reveal that later on, of course, that Joe Pesci and his sidekick, he isn't a police officer. He's actually a burglar.
Yeah. Or
a home invader, as is popularly defined in the forums of this film. I thought Joe Pesci was marvelous in this movie. He really brings a level of wit and just charm and just his Joe Pesci-ness.
You know, he's fashion. Yeah, he did that because he didn't want to swear in front of the kids.
Cartoon profanity. Yeah. Yes.
He didn't want to swear in front of the kids in real life, so that's what he started doing.
That's something that I was going to come up with later on, but since we're sort of... First of all, have you seen the driver's sketch of Macaulay Culkin?
Yes.
Yes, where he plays an older Kevin McAllister.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you forward calls from your mom? Like, that's cool, dude. He's like, yeah. He's like, let me paint a picture for you. It's Christmas. It's fucking Christmas, right? And your entire family, including your bastard of a brother, leaves you behind for an entire week. I had to defend my house against 2 psychopathic home invaders who tried to kill me, and invade my home. Who they didn't curse. You know, they spoke like Yosemite Sam, like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna get you, little scamp." You know, like, they called me louse and shit like that. You know, I thought it was so funny, and I remember that immediately when I was watching this film. I was like, "Yeah, they never curse." I'm like, they should be cursing, these people. Although of course he didn't want to swear in front of the kids.
That was great.
So it makes total sense. when Macaulay Culkin obviously gets down, this is when shit really kicks off. And when he goes down into the kitchen with the rest of his family, this entire god awful family, like every kid is like Sid from Toy Story. like what the fuck is this family? Like none of them are likable.
The rich. That's why.
They're rich. They're all yuppies. They're all like, it's like Ronald Reagan is gonna right. By the way, this movie is the epitome of the last dying days of Ronald Reagan's conservative revolution in America. And I'll explain why the more I get on. But you've just brought me to the first point, right? Big rich family living in a massive house in the middle of suburban America, which, by the way, all the Christmas decorations are immaculate. They always do this in every single Christmas movie. They take Christmas so seriously in America, in American media. Like, these towns deserve awards. You know, like the Christmas lights are so beautifully arranged. The Santas, the Christmas trees, and they always blow up and get destroyed and shit. You know, it's like they revel in excess and destruction. It's amazing. Anyway, this this family. So they're around the table and they've ordered several pizzas. And of course Macaulay Culkin doesn't like he likes plain pizza.
Yeah,
he just likes a margarita pizza, which is fair. I know a lot of people like that. And of course, so he gets in, and of course, by the way, the cinematography in this movie is great. It's really, really creative.
Oh yeah.
And it's a John Hughes production, isn't it? Like he didn't direct it. It was Chris Columbus who directed it.
Chris Columbus directed. John Hughes wrote it.
He wrote it. Okay, good. That explains a lot because it there was a lot of John Hughes charm in this. Which obviously, if you've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and if you've seen, I haven't seen The Breakfast Club, but I do want to watch it at some point because it looks like something I probably would enjoy.
Yeah, same. It's one of them films.
Have you not seen it either? No. Have you seen many? Have you
I'm-
seen many John Hughes films?
I'm a bad film student. No. I've always been on my list. I'm trying to think of what's the top of my head then. So what's he done?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes, seen that. Uncle Buck, was that his?
The what?
Uncle Buck.
I have no idea. Oh no, I think that might have been him. Yeah.
Yeah, seen
Yeah.
that. Haven't seen Planes, Trains and Automobiles, which is a funny story about that.
I've seen bits of Trains, Planes, and Automobiles, but apparently, like, it's a film that my mum loves, and apparently, it's a really funny, enjoyable film. And from what I've seen, it does look really good.
Well, one of John Candy's monologues in this film, when he's talking about leaving the kid at the funeral and stuff,
Yeah.
that's from Planes.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so good. Of course. Oh yeah, John Candy. Of course. Yes, I'll get to him in a bit. Excuse me. So they get down into the kitchen and fucking this horrible kid, this other horrible kid, the one who pisses the bed.
It's Macaulay Culkin's brother.
Real life brother.
Yeah, have you seen Scott Pilgrim?
No, I haven't. I still haven't seen Scott Pilgrim. You know.
That might be one to watch then, for you.
I really want to watch Scott Pilgrim.
Because he's in it. Oh shit, what's he? He's Culkin, and I can't remember his first name now. It's
Oh,
gone over my head.
yes, and he was in. Oh God, I've seen him in another film, called. But by the way, if you've not seen this movie, I highly recommend it. It's free. It's on YouTube. It's free. Full thing. It's called Igby Goes Down.
I've heard of it. Never watched it.
Igby Goes Down stars Thingy McCulkin. Kieran McCulkin. Is it Kieran McCulkin?
Kieran Culkin.
Kieran Culkin. He's he plays the lead in this movie, and you can so tell that he's Macaulay Culkin's brother. This movie is basically what The Catcher in the Rye film would be, because of course The Catcher in the Rye is my favorite novel. Fun fact. And it is the film rights for The Catcher in the Rye are held tight by.
They don't exist really, do they?
They don't. No, they don't, because J.D. Salinger, who wrote The Catcher in the Rye, he never wanted the movie that book to be made into a film. He was so because the reason why is because he said that The Catcher in the Rye is such a novelistic novel, and there's certain things that you can only get across through the written format that you can't do in a film. And also, the point of Holden Caulfield, the main character, is that he's exactly what you want him to look like in your mind. It's a very personal relationship that the writer wants you to have with the protagonist, and hence why so many people get annoyed by Catcher in the Rye, because I think it reminds them a lot of their own personal experiences as an adolescent. But he didn't want he didn't want this to be made into a film because he said like, okay, so if you get Jack Nicholson, for example, to play Holden Caulfield, that is what Holden Caulfield's going to be. He's going to be
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson, which I understand. It's the same reason why Alan Moore was so dead set against Watchmen being adapted into a novel. And when you get older, you adapted into a film. Sorry, when you get older, you realize that it's because Watchmen's structure. Again, we're talking about Watchmen again.
Yeah.
Watchmen's structure is so indicative of what the comic book medium can do, and a film can't do that, and that's one of the reasons why the adaptation sort of fails in some respects. Anyway, Igby Goes Down is the closest thing you'll get to A Catcher in the Rye adaptation, because the story is very, very heavily inspired by The Catcher in the Rye. It's immediately apparent. If you've read the novel and if you watch that film, it's immediately apparent. So that's the closest thing you're going to get to it. And it's great. It's a great movie. I highly recommend watching it. His brother, Kieran Culkin, is great in that. It's kind of the performance that I would want from Macaulay Culkin in a film,
Yeah.
you know. But here's hoping one day that The Catcher in the Rye, because J.D. Salinger's dead. I'll get back on Home Alone in a second, but I
Yeah.
have to get this out of my system. Macaulay, sorry,
I'm gonna have another Stollenby while you do it.
J.D. Salinger's estate currently holds the rights to the film of The Catcher in the Rye. And he did say to his family before he passed away, he said, when I die, and if you guys are hard up with cash, hard up for making a living, then I will allow you to sell the film rights. Then and only then will I let you do it. If you really need to. You know, I'll leave it up to your judgment. So we may see a Catcher in the Rye movie one day. Who knows?
Just when the lawyers run out.
When the lawyers run out, when all the money runs out. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, back to Home Alone. I wish Kieran Culkin was in this movie. No.
He is in that movie.
Oh, he is. Of course he is. Yes, you just said he was. That's the reason.
Is he in the Pepsi?
Yes, he is.
You
Oh.
should eat and grin.
Well, there we are. I love this movie now. When he gets crushed by the chair, that's so satisfying. Because like he's such a little prick. Like, oh my god. Like, and everyone's just awful to Macaulay Culkin in this movie. Like, just why isn't there a pizza for him? Like, did they all eat it?
Yes, Spike ate it.
Spike ate it.
You
yeah.
see him shoving it down his thing.
And I know. I thought he's like, oh yeah, we did, but there's none left for you, you little prick.
Yeah.
And then of course when he fights him, and then of course they destroy the passports and the tickets and all that and all that. And then the uncle's just like,
Look what you did, you little jerk.
you little jerk, you little fucking cunt. You know what I mean? Like just like, you know, I'm sorry, I apologize for the language, but he may as well have said that to him. You know
By
what
the
I
way,
mean?
the uncle was going to be played by Frasier. By
By Kelsey Grammer.
by Kelsey Grammer at one point, but I think something went wrong and he had to reschedule. He was going to be Kelsey Grammer.
Incredible. Oh, that would have been amazing. Kelsey Grammer as the uncle. That's fantastic. Oh, man. But, yeah, the uncle's horrible.
Yeah.
Everyone's horrible to him. The parent, like, they don't really give a shit, really, about this kid. And when they... And there's so much foreshadowing in this movie. There's so much foreshadowing. This is what I mean. The setup. That's when I realized that this movie actually is quite well written.
Yeah.
In the sense that there's so much foreshadowing, where not just in the literal sense of like, I hope I wake up and my family's gone, and of course, surprise, they are gone. But when you hear him just like in little things, like saying like, oh, Kevin's done this, and he's set up things with like the thumbtacks and all that sort of thing, and it's like it's little hints to like he's creative genius in a sense of like setting up things, you know, and traps and all that shit. I love that. I also loved the obvious foreshadowing of the spider.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because obviously that's going to come into play later on.
I've got a fun fact about that spider.
Do you?
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, when it goes under Marv's face, I can't remember the actor's, Daniel Stern.
Right.
He's shit scared of tarantulas, shit scared of spiders, and he said, "Put it on my face."
Yeah.
So that scream he does is genuine.
It's genuine.
That's a genuine. I'm fucking terrified
I'm
right
terrified
now.
of. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great. That was an excellent scream.
Yeah.
That he delivers.
That's a real fear scream.
Yeah, that's actually.
That
great.
wasn't acting.
That is so great. That is so good. I love that. Yes, but then you see the spider, and the result of like being punished and sent up to his room. And I've got written here in my notes. This is how murderers are created, right?
I mean,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like Macaulay, and going by what you learn about what Kevin McAllister is able to do, like around the film, like that, like this child is going to grow up to become a murderer.
Oh yeah, if it wasn't slapstick, they'd be dead in the first.
Literally,
couple
like
of-
this is legitimately how murderers are created.
in the second one where Marv gets gets something electric, and he gets hold of it and he starts getting electrocuted, and there's Macaulay Culkin just turning the knob, just staring at it, just turning.
Oh my
He looks
God.
proper
Like
psychotic.
psychotic, like deranged.
He just has no feeling about it. He's just like, yep.
Yeah,
go
I'm gonna
on.
kill you just a little bit, you know.
Yeah, if it wasn't slapstick, it'd be a horror.
Oh, absolutely. You could easily do an edit of this whole thing being a horror. What? Yeah. So that's the one thing that like I've written madness, absolute madness. It
Yeah.
really is just genuine madness. Why is he scared though of that room? That room's amazing. Like that room upstairs that he that I'm guessing that was his room.
The attic. I think it was just a spare room. I
Just a
think his
spare room.
room's. I don't even know.
You never
He
see
says-
his room, do you?
Don't think you do, because he stays in his parents' bed when he's all alone.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you ever see his room.
No, you never. No, you never. I was like that room upstairs is great. I don't know why you're scared of it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, because he goes up
Um,
and he's like, but it's scary up there, you know.
Yeah, and it's like, is it though? That's one thing as well. Again, the setup really good
Mm.
about him being like really scared of going up in the room, and also when they say you've got to pack your bag. And I was wondering why this was such a big moment, because it's treated as such a big moment. It's like you've got to pack your bag, and it's like you got to pack a suitcase, and he's like, I don't know how to pack a suitcase. I've never done it before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh wow, you know, it's like because and then he gets ridiculed for being useless, and they're saying like you don't know how to do anything for yourself. You've got to get everyone to do it for you. And it's like, well, he is 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like he is an 8-year-old. Like, cut him some slack. But it's like, that struck me. I was just like, is this going to become something big in the movie here? So I kept hold of that. I hate the music.
Really?
I was worried that this was going to be a point.
John Williams, man.
I know, which made it even worse for me. Because I saw in the beginning of the movie, I hate like 90s family Christmas music. You know, like that. You know, that sort of thing. You know, like that. Like, and then you hear like jingle bells and the thing, and it's like, and then your thing, like I was just like, I hate it. I really don't like it because it's so like all of it's the same. It's got like that chirpy like nonsense to it, and you know that it just that music encourages nonsensical sequences. Like a child screaming for no reason, a child running away for no reason. Like that bit later on when he's in the convenience store to buy a toothbrush. Why did he run?
Because he's scared of the old guy.
I know, but why? Like, why did he? Why?
He's a dumbass. I don't know.
Because I don't know, but it made no sense. I'm like, the music's flaring up, and it's like, what? Like literally, in the shopkeeper's like, you need to pay for the toothbrush.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, let go of the toothbrush. Put the toothbrush down. Why are you running out the shop with a toothbrush? You could have easily ran away from the old man by dropping the toothbrush. Just what? And then a policeman chases after him, and I'm like, why is this happening? Oh yeah, because it's a 90s, you know, romp of a film. That's why. And then later on he says, I'm a criminal. I'm like, yeah, you are. You are a criminal. Anyway,
I'm
so
a psychotic killer at that.
you're a psychotic killer. There's so the the music, it got on my nerves. I know it's John Williams, and I know excuse me, sorry. And I know he's the greatest of all time. You know, of course, I don't need to list what he did of it, but I will. You know, Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Jaws and, you know, and
I went to see this film live
I know you did.
with a
Lee.
live orchestra.
I know you did. I know you did.
How much I love this film.
I
and the
know,
music.
and I'm sorry, but I hated it. I hated
John hits everything I like.
I
Apart from My Hero Academia, I like that, and Cowboy Bebop.
Exactly, yeah. So
Anything music, okay, we've got a different music
the
taste.
music is like
Yeah.
so far removed. And of course in Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
all great scores. I didn't like this one. I didn't find it, you know, particularly enjoyable. I found it annoying. I found it it stirred up all of the things that I thought that I would hate about the movie, and it did. But But then again, though, in the next morning, this is when we set up. One thing that I always wondered about Home Alone, I was like, why did they leave him? You know, how did
Yeah.
that happen? And they do their best to justify that. So of course a storm cuts all of the electric,
Cuts the power.
cuts the power. The alarm clock doesn't go off. All the phones are cut as well. So they end up sleeping in. And you see them get up and they're like, we slept in, and then like, you know, that little montagey thing, and they're like, there's that John Hughes charm that's coming through. It's lovely. And then I've written in here, oh right, that's how they left him. So the random kid from across the street gets into the van because he's interested in the van, I guess.
Yeah, he's a little prick.
He's just a prick. And so the sister is told to, or the cousin or whoever she is,
Sister.
the sister is asked to do a head count. And of course, this kid is the same height and build as Macaulay Culkin. She thinks that he's Macaulay Culkin. So she goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, you know, like, so I'm like, oh, right, okay. So the parents are in that much of a hurry. They don't have time to check themselves if all the kids are there.
And he didn't pack a suitcase.
And he didn't pack a suitcase, of course. There you go. So they leave without him. When they get to the airport, I'm sorry, but how did they not know he was there then? Right? They're running through the airport, and they say, oh, and they stop for a significant moment where the stewardess goes, yes, you've just got here in time, get on board. So they all run on board. The children run on first. How did they not notice that he wasn't there? Like, what?
I don't know. Adrenaline, I don't know.
Like, this film is about child abuse. There's so much child abuse. There's so much child abuse in this movie. It's rife. It's disgusting. It's you know, good lord. Anyway, so, and there was this setup, and I remember writing here, setup after setup after setup, and I can't remember what specifically this was in reference to, but I do know that that's when I started to realize that when he goes this was it, when he goes down into the basement, when he's like by himself, and of course there's the furnace in the basement, which is like really scary because the way it moves, it looks like a monster, and of course it's in the basement, which is like a scary place, and of course he's terrified of it, and of course we're setting up Macaulay's whole arc, or Kevin's whole arc in this film is, for me, and this is one thing that made me, on a serious note, this is something that made me really appreciate the film a lot more, because my biggest fear going into this movie was thinking that it was going to be a whole film just of Macaulay Culkin fending off his house against Joe Pesci and the other fella.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. That's really just the last 20...
It's the last 20 minutes.
It's the last 20 minutes of the film. The whole... It actually has an arc in the story, and for me, the film obviously is about appreciating family, because it's quite explicitly said in the movie that he wishes that he hadn't wished his family went away, and that he does actually love them.
Oh god, that scene where he talks to Santa about it.
I know.
Where in context it just sounds like everyone died.
I know it does.
And then Santa's like, oh, shit.
And Santa's like, fuck, all right, okay. I loved that scene. That's one of my favourite scenes in the whole movie. I actually got written, it's a little bit ahead, but I've got written down here, I like Santa, nice down-to-earth fella.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. It was lovely. I really liked how that Santa was just a regular fella, but he wasn't a total arsehole.
Yeah.
He was just like, Santa, he's like, I know you're not the real Santa. What makes you think I'm...
Pulls his
beard back up, and he's like, I know you work for him. He's like, fair enough. And he's like, can I ask you a favor? He's like, yeah, go ahead. And he's just like, yeah, sure, go on. I've got nothing to lose.
Do you need a piece of paper? No, it's fine.
No, it's all right. It's fine. No, just tell us it's all right. Go on. And then he's like, my family's gone. I want them back. And it's like, oh shit, all right. And he just gives him the candy cane. He's like, oh, it's all right. See you later. See you later, son. It's all right. And he's just like, oh, fucking hell, my card's just dead. It's great. Yes. So anyway, so when he's in the basement, but you also see the camera panning across the mannequins.
Yeah.
And also loads of different items that he later on he'll use.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was, so the fact the film's very much, that's what I loved about the visual storytelling. Like there's actual visual storytelling going on here.
Yeah.
Like setup after setup, it's great. Proper film language that we don't see anymore. Which really annoys me. Like proper setups. Anyway, so what I thought was great was that this movie very much obviously on its nose is about appreciating family, but I think a little bit more subtly, it's also about learning how to be independent and learning how to sort of fend for yourself and sort of be your own counsel. Because there's the obvious one with Kevin doesn't know how to pack a suitcase because he's never done it before.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about being ridiculed for you have to have everything done for you because you don't know how to do anything. So when he's on his own for a week, he's forced to look after himself. So he goes shopping. He gets some food. He goes out and buys a toothbrush. He has to do all these things. And I thought, and of course, learning how to be brave as well, because when he hears like the two men trying to break into the house for the first time, he's really scared.
Yeah.
So he goes and hides in his bed. He's really scared of the furnace. And when he's had a full week of like sort of like living by himself in the real world, when he's doing the washing machine, he's gone out and bought like fabric softener and stuff, and he's put it in, and he's talking to the woman on the when the furnace like jumps up again, he's like, "Oh, shut up!"
Yeah.
He's not scared of it anymore. I thought that's lovely because he's he's starting to build up that natural immunity, of sort of against the world. Even when he's talking to the cashier in the supermarket, how she's all like, he's like, "Oh, do you like your parents?" Like, "Oh yeah, I've got a coupon for that." It's just like, he's getting all the right stuff, and I thought that was really like quite cool. I really enjoyed that, and I really loved that that's what the film was really about, and how all the other stuff around it is just there for fun and just exaggerating it a little bit.
I know you said earlier he's out of monologue, but again, my house, I need to protect it.
Yeah, it's there. It's necessary.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, you kind of roll your eyes at it a little bit for how on the nose it is, but then I think by that point, I think when you look back on it, it's like you can kind of forgive the film in that sense. For it is a children's film, it is a family film, and he is a kid, so that's the kind of thing that a kid would do, I guess. In that sense, he would kind of outwardly say, "Oh, this is my house. I need to defend it," or like a lovely cheese pizza just for me, So that's what I loved. It's like the creativity is really strong in this movie, especially when he's picking up things and he's like, "Oh," when he's going through Buzz's stuff, and he's like, "I'll save these for later." And I'm like, "I bet you will." And you see the rifle on the wall, and I'm like, "There's the rifle that'll play later on." And I'm only realizing this now that it's all there. It's all there in the frame. You see everything he's going to use. It's already there in the frames, and you don't realize it until later on. It's like
everything's on that shelf.
Everything is on that shelf, and everything's set up. This is what I mean. Like the visual storytelling in this movie was actually really, it's really good.
Yeah.
And that's what I really appreciate about, from a filmmaking point of view, it's really strong. And you realize that, you don't realize until later on, it's like, this all kind of makes sense. Well, of course it makes sense because you've seen it all before. It's all set up for you, and it all makes sense.
Fun fact about that scene: Buzz's girlfriend.
Yes. That shocking looking
was a
person.
Guy dressed up because Chris Columbus didn't want to make fun of a girl. He didn't want to get another girl to make fun of, so he got a guy to dress up.
Oh my goodness!
Like a kid guy to dress up.
Little did he know that years later that would probably cause some more problems.
But yeah, that's initially he was just like, I don't want to like make fun of like a girl for being ugly or something like that. So he got like.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Buzz, your girlfriend, yikes!
God, yeah, I know. Like those little bits of dialogue, I really quite liked. I've got written here, these are the worst parents in the world.
Yeah.
If you can't, I've got written here, these are the worst parents in the world. If you can't remember that you have that many children, then don't have them. Don't have that many children if you can't remember them, for God's sake. So they're all in first class, and I feel like I've forgotten something. I'm like, what the bloody hell?
Well, they're in first class, and all their kids are in like second.
I know, but like, Christ. How's the dad not know? How does nobody know that he's not there? Like it's insane. You guys should be arrested. You should bloody child services should be pounding on your door. Like I wouldn't have rang the police because that would have landed me in it. You know what I mean? Like and I love the on the nose foreshadowing of just like how everything's going to come to a head. And even the Merry Christmas, you filthy animal thing, like how that's kind of like what Kevin kind of wants to be. He kind of wants to be a gangster in a sense, you know.
That film, that little short film,
Yeah.
was made for Home Alone.
For Home Alone,
Yeah.
I thought I got the feeling that it probably was. You
And it
know,
was reused in Detective Pikachu for some reason.
really?
Yeah, one of the backgrounds you see the film playing.
Why?
I have no idea.
That's very strange.
It's really weird.
It is really weird.
It's in Detective Pikachu, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, it's so strange. So one bit I loved was when they got to Paris and they have to ring the police. That bit with the police department was so funny. Like when she's like, "Oh, so it's about your child, right? I'm gonna pass you over to child services." So then they pass it, like, and he's just in the next room.
Just eating a donut.
He's eating a donut. And it's like, yeah, is your child? And I've got a problem about my child. Right? Has he inhaled any deadly gases? No. Is he in any kind of like peril? I don't know. And it's like, has he brought harm to himself or to others? No. It's like he's gone through all the tick boxes. It's like, then why are you ringing me? And it's like, no, because he's home by himself, and I just want you to send a police officer to go and see if he's all right. He's like, oh well, you want to talk to the police then? So he passes that back.
So they refer to her as a hyper. Just hyperventilating.
Just
Just like,
hyper.
hyper.
Hyper, you've got a hyper, like, talk to her. I was like, oh, hello again, I'm back. I was like, just send a police. And that's so funny. I found that so funny. That I really enjoyed that bit. The bit with the mirror is unbearable.
Mm.
It was terrible. I hated that bit.
It was probably when at the time it was like, oh, the cute kid thing doing like cute kid stuff, but not.
It doesn't work, does it? It's like, it's just because why does he talk? Why is he talking like that?
I have no idea.
It's the only time he ever talks like that in the entire film. Because I was thinking, because I've seen that scene isolated by itself, where he's in front of the mirror and he's going, I inspected every part of my crevice, like including my belly button, like da 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 da. And I'm like, and he goes, other than that, I'm in terrific shape. And I'm like, and I always thought, is this okay? In the film, he must watch like an infomercial, you know, or he must like hear someone doing something like that, and he's doing a riff of that, he's doing, because to me that would make sense if he's talking like that and doing stuff like that. That would make sense if he'd watched something on telly, where like someone like if someone was advertising loads of products and going oh you know, like aftershave and all that sort of stuff, and going.
Well, it's the same with the Scream. Aftershave like stings after.
Well, exactly. So like I thought that he's just doing that, and that would make sense. So I feel like was that the initial intention, and is it the result of a deleted scene?
Could be, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, it feels like it belongs to something, because it feels so random, so out of place, and so annoying. Like, and it's like, and when he slaps his face with the aftershave, it's like, it's so excruciating when he screams, because it feels so fake and forced and stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's unbearable. And
at the same time, if he's putting aftershave on as a kid, he's fake and forced because it wouldn't hurt.
Of course it would. Why would it? Yeah, exactly. Why would he scream after that? Like, did he actually shave?
Did he watch his dad do it and screamed after like that, and thought you had to scream?
Exactly,
after?
Exactly. Like, that's what I mean. Like, it would have made total sense if if it was the result of a setup.
You're right. Like all the setup, all the visual storytelling, everything in this film. Then there's that one random scene.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, it feels like that. Like, as I say, that scene would have been perfectly in place if it was the result of a big setup of like Macaulay Culkin, of Kevin McAllister, like learning, if it was part of his process to learn how to like be a grown up or be independent or whatever. If he'd seen someone doing that, whether it was on the telly or his dad doing that, but you never get any of that, so it just feels so strange.
You're right. It might have been something deleted when they were like, we should keep this in. It's probably going to be like a good.
Yeah,
bit.
This is going to be. They're like, we should probably still keep it in, exactly, because this is going to be an iconic moment or whatever.
Yeah,
so
it kind of was.
But it is, because you see it referenced all the time, everywhere. But it makes no sense, and it comes. And I've written here as well. Yes, I 100% would have left this kid. You know what I mean? I would have left this kid, of course. When he's climbing the shelves, and then they all break, and then the spider's loose, and I'm like, there we go. There's another setup. Amazing. That's going to come back later on. And of course it did.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I've got written here as well, when he goes to get the toothbrush, why are you running? Just stop. Leave the toothbrush. Like, he should have just dropped the toothbrush.
Yeah.
Just, you know, like, yes, you are a criminal. The scream is unbearable as well. And of course the water bandits
The
as
wet
well.
bandits,
The
yeah.
wet bandits, yeah. They when they do the whole wet thing after the water thing after they're robbing the houses. I'm
Yeah.
like, again, that's going to come into play later on, isn't it? Like, of course it is. But it doesn't. Well, it kind of does, but it doesn't really. It was kind of less there than I thought it would be.
The only big payoff really is like when he gets chased in the house, where you see all the water and stuff.
Yeah.
And when they get arrested, it's like, oh, we know your MO, so
We know your
every
MO now.
crime you've done.
True. So it kind of does. It does
Yeah,
pay off.
It pays off for him being an idiot and just leaving his calling cards so they know
True.
exactly what.
It does pay off. It does pay off. That is true actually. Because but when the van is moving and the van stops, just in time before he gets run over by
yeah,
it,
he does a scream.
and he goes like that, and it's like it's so strange.
It's a very weird looking.
It's very weird because the van just stops and but he looks at it, blinks, and then opens his mouth and goes.
It looks like it was sped up a bit or something.
Yeah,
like
it
that,
looks
just
it looks so weird, and I'm
Yeah.
but he doesn't look as if he's screaming. He looks as if he's deranged, as if there's something wrong with him. Like he's going like that, and I'm like,
It
what?
probably was, and then the scream was in post or something.
Yeah, it did look like such a post job, didn't
Yeah.
it? Like it was so crazy. Everything is linked in this movie. As I said before, my biggest praise for this film is its arc and how everything is so well set up and paid off. That's what I really like.
Yeah.
And because when you see the mannequins in the basement, and then you see them right now, that bit with the that is the stuff of nightmares. Murderer. He's an
Yeah.
actual murderer. Because do you know what I was thinking when that bit happens, when they're like, oh, there's people in the house,
Oh yeah.
and you see the silhouettes of the mannequins. Right. First of all, Kevin McAllister is a genius of engineering.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, why is it that in all of these late 80s, 90s kids movies, you've always got one kid who's a genius of mechanical engineering? Like there was that one kid in the Goonies.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well.
How do you know what I mean? How do they know how to do all this stuff? It's incredible.
Yeah.
They're all choreographed. They can all they're all moving. He was pulling strings. They were moving in natural ways, and it was it was horrifying. It was absolutely horrifying, and I'm like, Ed Gein. I was just thinking Ed Gein throughout this entire thing. I'm like, this guy is just a few years away from skinning people and using their skin as furniture decorations. Right? He's a murderer. He's going to become a murderer. It's crazy. Anyway, so yeah, it's and then when you get back to the house, back to France.
Yeah.
I actually really like the older brother.
Yeah.
I know you're not meant to whatever, is it Spike or what's he called?
Spike. Yeah.
Spike, of course he's
Pretty sure
called
it's Spike,
Spike. They're always got names like that, haven't they? They can't. Why can't they just be have normal name? Why couldn't he have just be called Ted or something? Do you know what I mean? Or fucking Gabriel,
Yeah.
or I don't know, Trevor.
I like to think that he called himself Spike, and everyone was like, okay, we'll call him Spike.
We'll call him Spike, yeah, because that's what generic bully brothers' names
Yeah.
are. That's one thing that I think is in it, it doesn't do a lot to go against the grain in that sense of it kind of hits the, the cliches in a sense, but it's I'll come to that later on actually. But yeah, I like the older brother. I know you're not meant to, but the reason why I liked him is because he's the only one who has his head screwed on.
You talk about when he's like, we're not that lucky.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, literally. He's literally, that's exactly the bit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They're all like, he's all by himself. Are you not worried? He's like, no, I'm not worried at all. Do you know why? Because he's a psychopath. Do you know what I mean? That kid is going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And he was. He was totally right. He was absolutely correct. And I thought, I like this character a lot because he's, literally, A, we're not that lucky. B, he's a fucking nutter. He's going to be absolutely fine.
And we live in the most boring place in the
We live in the
United
most boring place in the United States of America. It's class.
Well, there's a line at the end when he talks about when he did laundry. You hear him going, did laundry? You can't even tie his own shoes.
Yeah, literally. It's class. It's so funny, but it's so true. I was like, that's brilliant. So yeah, the pizza bit was really genius and really fun when the pizza delivery. Although it makes no sense. And I'll tell you why it makes no sense. How did Kevin order the pizza? Because the phone lines are meant to be dead.
I think they get restored at one point.
Do they? Because if that's the case, then how come the family haven't been able to contact him then? Because they've been trying multiple times. The dad.
No, they do get thingied back on, because when the wet bandits are next to one of the neighbouring ones, they
Right.
manage to call and be like, "Oh, kid's missing. Can you go check on?" So the phone lines get restored.
But still though, like that was the biggest plot hole for me. Because if the phone lines were restored for a bit, why didn't Kevin try to ring his parents?
Because he thinks they're just gone. He thought they just disappeared because he wished them all to disappear. He didn't think
True.
they went away. He thought they
True.
just disappeared.
Well, he wouldn't have a number to ring them,
And
I
he's a
suppose.
dumbass.
He's a dumbass. But
no,
like,
there's
doesn't-
like a, I forgot what the company's called. Del Taco fucking when they're leaving on the leaving to go to the airport. There's a guy representative from the phone company. He's like, "Oh, it's going to take a couple of days for this to get sorted."
right.
Like, oh yeah, thanks. It goes,
True. Okay.
and then
great.
it's a couple of days later once that happens.
Right. But
No idea why she didn't try to ring again.
why didn't they try and ring again then? That's the one thing that didn't.
Yeah.
It struck me after the film. I was like, hang on.
I think they've already resolved to like go back and go like and not ring.
I suppose.
90s, so don't have mobiles.
True. I mean, I get it's the 90s. It's the
Yeah.
only way. But that's the thing, though. It's they won't have mobiles. But the only way that he will have ordered that pizza is if he rang the place.
Which would have been a couple of days after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what the hell? Anyway, I thought the phone bit was. I thought the bit with the when he was pressing pause
Yeah.
and playing it, I thought fantastic. I thought that was really fun. And setting the gun off as well with like the and everything. I thought that was fantastic. Although it doesn't make any sense the why he still pays him, because I'm like, well, if you were gonna pay him anyway, why didn't you just answer the door and just take it?
Kevin's a psychopath.
Because he's a psychopath. Okay, of course.
He wanted fear in this guy. He probably thought the guy didn't deliver a cheese pizza in the first place with
Yeah.
all the family there, so he wanted his own back because he's a fucking psychopath.
True. He wanted his own back. I'm like, he is a nutter.
Maybe he really likes that statue that keeps on getting knocked over.
Oh, maybe, exactly. And it's like, but it still didn't make. I'm like, why did you pay him then? It's like if you're gonna put him through like this like psychological trauma of thinking he's been shot at, like don't pay him. If you know what I mean, like it would have been better and funnier if like he was like, okay, I know how to get a pizza for free.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make him think that there's a gangster behind the door and firing at him
Because
with
he
a
was
machine
set for
gun.
stealing a toothbrush. He didn't want to steal a pizza as well.
I suppose that is true. He didn't want to, but he was thought, but I'm a nutter, so I'm gonna try and like scare the shit out of someone. And it's a good little like practice run for him for later on, I
Yeah.
suppose. But still, it didn't make. I'm like, as much as I love that bit, I was like, and I've written touching, but my God, the acting. I think it's what the bit where he was in bed and he's got the picture of his family.
Yeah.
And he's like, I wish you didn't. I really wish you weren't gone. I'm sorry. Oh, and it's like, oh God. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, fucking hell, man. Like, come on, Macaulay. It's like he's acting isn't great.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, honestly, I think that is the biggest thing against the film. I think Macaulay Culkin, and I realize now, I've often said I want Macaulay Culkin to have a comeback. I really want him to, like, honestly, I really would like him to, like, land a role that he can really sink his teeth into and actually, like, launch himself again as a legitimate actor.
I forgot what he's doing nowadays. I know he legally changed his name to Macaulay Culkin.
Why?
He had a Twitter poll about it, and people said what he should change his middle name to, and someone put Macaulay Culkin. So he changed his name legally to
Macaulay Culkin. That's wow, okay, incredible. He's incredible, isn't he, as a human being?
Well, actually, his Twitter handle is the Incredible Culk.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
Well, I know he has a podcast.
Yeah.
And he wears like bunny ears or something, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's an interesting fellow. It'd be good to get him on this podcast actually, as a guest.
Imagine.
And see what I'm sure the one film he wants to talk about is Home Alone. So it was like, yeah. So I was like, it's not great. The acting isn't great, but I'm like, there's many child stars that were great actors, so this isn't really an excuse. And I don't know if it was because like the script was so on the nose that they could kind of allow him to sort of like just say things.
Well, I think it was.
know.
I think because he's an Uncle Buck. He's
Yeah,
got like
Uncle
a few
Buck.
scenes. He's an Uncle Buck, and I think he was just impressed by Christopher Columbus and stuff, and thought, yeah, we'll get him for the next like a big role.
Yeah, exactly. Which I get, which is totally cool. And there is a certain charm that Macaulay Culkin has. I think that is sort of undeniable. In terms, like he is like a very cute 8-year-old, and that's part of the biggest like, appeal of the film. But like fucking, it's just there's just some moments that just took me out of it really. And the but then it does have that like, that lovely allegory for like learning how to be independent. That's what the big film is really.
Yeah.
It's like it's a fun little allegory for like learning how to be independent, which I did really like. Now the Polka Man,
Polka, yeah.
Polka Man, played by John Candy. I thought this was fantastic, and I've written here: Polka Man is a clear parody of Chubby Checker. Because of course Chubby Checker is of course the gentleman who recorded the hit song, "Let's Do the Twist."
Yeah.
Now, you'll notice in the film, Polka Man says, "Oh, you remember us? We had like a hit song. If I had a hit song like a few years ago, it was like the polka. Let's polka again. We're gonna polka around the clock or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna all these songs about doing a polka, right?" I was like, "This is a clear parody of Chubby Checker because Chubby Checker's career is literally just the twist, but variations on that. So he has the twist. Let's twist again. Let's do the twist one more time. Let's twist again like we did last summer." Chubby Checker's back again with the twist. Let's keep twisting. It's all just that. That's all he did. And I thought that was fantastic. A lovely little reference to that. John Candy is wonderful in this. His deadpan, like his delivery of the lines, and is just fantastic. But I also find it quite absurd that the mother accepted this because again I'm thinking of drivers like, did your mother even care? Do you? No, she didn't care, man. She didn't fucking care. She was more interested in being like a fucking groupie or some shit, some polka band. Like, and I thought it was great. It was so funny.
Well, all the scenes with John Candy were done in 24 hours.
Really?
Because apparently, I think whoever was meant to play John Candy's role dropped out or something happened.
Right.
So he got chipped in. He got paid $410 as a favour to
$410.
favour to John Hughes.
Wow.
And all of his stuff was ad-libbed. He had no script.
That's incredible. That is, and it was done in 24 hours.
Yeah, they had 24 hours to do all of his scenes.
That's fantastic. That is actually fantastic. I love that. So his role was just created like.
Well, I think
was it already written.
Already
that
written,
was gonna be
I
Polka
think.
Man.
But then they were like, get in, and he was like, because he didn't have time to script or whatever. They got him in. They're like, just go.
Yeah, who was it originally
I
meant to be?
can't remember who it was. I'll try and have a look while we'll talk about other stuff.
Because that's really fascinating. I had no idea about that. And I think John Candy was an absolutely fantastic actor. He was tremendously talented man. But yeah, and yeah, again, I've mentioned this before. But I've got in my notes. Just 90s Christmas films always go to the next level with their Christmas decorations. They absolutely. Like it's incredible. It's like you get the impression that America does really look like this in the holidays. Like they all have like these gigantic houses in suburban America, and the Christmas lights are always just like a Hollywood set level designer like created all this. And you see it in like again, and you see it like in the other films like Batman Returns and fucking even Edward Scissorhands. Like the decorations are always there, like actually maxed out. It's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. You even see it like the Santa's grotto bit when he meets like deadbeat Santa.
Speaking of that, because I'm on the Wikipedia now, Chris Farley was supposed to be Santa.
Chris who?
Chris Farley.
Oh, remind me of who Chris Farley is.
He was in Saturday Night Live, a lot of stuff. He was meant to be the original Shrek.
Right.
He's very loud, big guy who was very loud, like
oh, okay.
I'm trying to think what films he was in. Nothing's coming to mind that I can think of at the moment. Because he was in like Billy Madison and stuff like that. He was like the coach driver.
Yeah.
He auditioned, but he didn't impress. But I got the John Candy thing a bit wrong. Apparently, John Candy was only available for one day to film, so it was his role. He was only available for one day, which took 23 hours to shoot. He was paid $414 since he did the film as a favour to Hughes, and in return, he was the only actor allowed to go off script.
Really?
Yeah.
Incredible. That's so fun. That's made me appreciate his bit a lot more actually.
According to Columbus, all his dialogue was improvised.
That doesn't surprise me. I loved. I really liked the bit where this was like obviously the emotional heart of the movie when he goes to when he's walking past that house and he sees like loads of families like having a lovely time together and stuff. And then when I saw the church and he went in, I've written something here that's fairly cynical, but I think it does kind of tie into like what I was talking about before. Reagan's America is like strong and living well in this. You know, it's like big houses, big yuppie families having big lavish Christmas parties and stuff and spending loads of money. Now this was 1990. The days of Reagan obviously were a year finished, but his influence is still there. You can see it going into a church as well. The big church thing is like, because obviously Reagan was a big on like old traditional Christian values and things like that. So you see that and like big idea of like being conservative America and stuff, which he brought forward. I may be completely off on this, but I just love that as like a political side note. I was surprised at the emotional depth of this scene where he speaks to the old man in church. You know, and I thought that was lovely. You know, the whole thing about appreciating what you've got and not like not taking it for granted.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, how will I know if my son like wants to speak to me? It's like, well, you won't know.
Yeah.
But if you speak to him, then you'll know. You know, whether it's good or bad.
That's probably one of the best scenes Macaulay's in. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's probably the best performance he does in the entire film.
Yeah.
It maybe that he's ever done. Maybe, you know, and it's but I just thought it was lovely, and it's like, you know, the old man obviously wasn't going to be like a nutter.
Yeah.
But that's who he is. He's just a regular dude, you know, and he doesn't look scary at all. Like, it looks quite like intimidating throughout the entire film, but then all of a sudden he just looks like a kindly old man, you know, who's just having a chat with him.
I think for the most part, the shots you see of him are mostly either long shots or panning upwards.
Really, to make him look intimidating.
Yeah, because it's going from Macaulay's perspective. So
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
And then that one, they're pretty much equal.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, the visual storytelling is fantastic, and then you always see them in the same shot, or like they're not looking down; they're on the level.
Yeah,
the eye lines are consistent. And it's just it's just lovely. It's fantastic. And it was at this point I realized, God, I'm an hour and 30 minutes in, and none of the classic Home Alone stuff really has actually happened.
Yeah.
You know, it's been more. It's not actually about that. It's about so much more. And I was like, it really surprised me. It really, really, really did surprise me. And of course, when he runs and says like, "This is my house. I have to defend it." I was like, "Oh, here we go. Shit's kicking off." The mac and cheese and the milk. That's too much dairy.
It's Reagan's America.
It's Reagan's America, man. You know, it's like Reagan's America right there. Oh my God, just so much dairy. It was just ridiculous. I was like, I know it's not a big moment, but he has the mac and cheese, but a glass of milk, and I'm like, Kevin, what are you doing, man? You're a psychopath. Like that's more confirmation that he's a psychopath. Now, here we go. The actual Home Alone famous bit of when the home invaders come to. First of all, Kevin should have had live rounds in that gun. It's not outside of his jurisdiction.
Yeah.
I think he perfectly is capable of doing that since he is a little psychopath, as we've established. He should have had live rounds. Just kill them. Just kill them. You know, that's what.
But he wanted to torture.
But that makes it even worse, doesn't it? He wanted to literally torture these men. The cartoon profanity, again, I found hilarious.
The only one swear word that's in this film is when Marv puts his foot in the thing and his shoe comes off, you go shit, and like picks it up.
Oh, does he really?
One swear in the film. That's what I got away with.
I didn't even hear that.
Yeah. When his shoe goes, when he's like dicking about, his shoe comes off and he goes shit.
Does he?
Picks it up and puts
oh
it back.
Man, I didn't even notice that. That's class. But it was just buried underneath the mountains of like cartoon profanity.
Yeah.
Which is just rife in this film. Just
yeah, Joe Pesci does it really well.
You know, it's like he does it so well, and it's just I'm like, yeah, like, they didn't even curse. They call me like louse and shit like that. You know, like you little like I'll get you, you little scamp,
you little twerp,
you little twerp, you little jerk, and it's like it's so weird. But I loved it. I did love it. There was a certain charm to it. Yes, he should have had live rounds. At this point, when they're slipping down the stairs and burning his hand on the doorknob, I would have given up.
Yeah.
I'm like, just leave, just give up, Do not try and get back into this house. Like, why do you want to get into this house? I know you said like I've dreamed about getting into this house particular because it's the nicest one or whatever.
Yeah.
Just leave. Right? This kid is clearly a psychopath. He's shooting you with what should have been live rounds, which is what would have been going through my head. I've written here, I would have just given up. Surely there's plenty of other houses to rob that doesn't have a psychotic kid in there. Just like you could just kill an old couple or something. Or even better, if you really want to rob the house, just shoot Kevin. Just go away, get an actual gun and shoot the kid. Just, you know what I mean? Like, just,
Yeah.
like all these problems could have been solved if you either just gave up, left, went and killed an old couple that you could have easily done, robbed their house, or get a gun, bring it back, and give them both barrels and shoot the little fucker. You know, that's all you had to do.
There's something mentioned about a gun somewhere, and I can't remember. It might be in the second one where they say they don't have one or something like
They
that.
don't have a gun.
There's
Yeah.
something about it. I can't remember what it is. Now. No, they have the second one. They bring a gun.
Do they?
Yeah, but at one point it gets like clogged or something like that. But they actually
Oh.
have a gun. They're like, I'm prepared this time.
But this time we're gonna kill
Yeah.
them. I'm actually gonna shoot the kid. That's class. I loved the Indiana Jones reference. Did he, with the doorknob?
Yeah,
Did he? Yeah, where he burns his hand on the doorknob and it's got the imprint
Yeah.
on his hand and he shoves it in the snow. I'm like, yeah, love that little Indiana Jones reference. Thought it was fantastic. At this point, when they're inside the house, the other fella has been hit in the head with an iron.
Yep.
From a significant height, right? He has fallen down the stairs several times. He has burnt his hand,
pieced his foot.
pierced his foot. He has lost his shoes in the tar. He's probably ripped the skin off his feet from the tar. Joe Pesci has been flamethrowered. These men should be dead.
Oh yeah.
These men should be dead, especially when they got hit in the head at full force with those paint cans. I'm amazed they weren't. I'm amazed. I'm like, I've written here in caps. Just give up. Just leave the house. Right? Why? It's a miracle that you're not dead, and the fact that you're still pursuing this child who is more than established that he can probably do even worse to you. Why? I've written here. Jigsaw. Kevin
It's the
McAllister
original Jigsaw.
is
yeah.
actual Jigsaw.
Wait until the second one they get worse.
Oh my god! Honestly, like
He starts chucking bricks off the rooftop and
Jesus
and stuff. Like I said about the fucking electric, where he's just turning up.
turning up is like he's
Marv turns into a skeleton. You see like
It's
skeleton
just
screaming.
ridiculous.
It's
Like,
really ridiculous.
it's ridiculous. Like they should be dead.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's incredible. And again, I'm amazed that they never curse, apart from that one moment.
Yeah.
But like, I know it's a family film, but still.
It's great.
I found the line. I mean, obviously we've got the spider bit.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite funny. I mean, when you knew it was coming because they set up the spider multiple times, but the scream was great. It's amazing in
Genuine.
knowing that it's genuine. The suicide line I thought was so funny.
Where'd he go? Maybe commit suicide.
Maybe committed suicide. That was so funny.
Which, saying I watched this as a kid, not knowing what that meant for ages and ages, getting to one point watching again, bursting out laughing at that.
It's so funny. It's like, why did he go? Maybe he committed suicide. It's so funny. Maybe he killed him. Maybe he killed himself. It's so dark, but it's so funny. Oh god, because I'm like, well, yeah, maybe he did.
Like I
you
said,
know?
me and my brother watched this. It came out in 1990. I was 1. My brother was 8. Yeah, 1 year. But no, we were 9, 10.
Bloody hell.
And we watched that a lot of times as kids growing up. Like,
Jesus.
so the amount of jokes that went off my head till about
Yeah.
when I got to a point was just like, yeah, a new perspective of this film made it better.
It's so funny. It was so funny, and of course I also like that bit where the figure out he's in the tree house, and he's like, what's he doing? I say, he's gonna call the police. What from a tree house? From a tree house, he's gonna call. I love how self-aware it is. It's class. And then of course when they get the house, they run through the thing, and they're all like, we're gonna bite your fingers off, and we're gonna do all this stuff to you.
Face or an eye and
Yeah, and then we're gonna hit your face in the eye, and then of course when the old man appears, I was like, oh my god, he's Jesus! Like, is this the ark? I'm like, let's get you home. I'm like, the old man, he's He's literally Jesus. Like he appears in a church. He's talking about forgiveness. Oh, it's incredible.
But he does what Spike says he does at the very start. He says that he killed people with a shovel.
Oh, he did. Yes, he
so
did.
he knocked them two out with a shovel.
Again, set up and payoff. There's so much set up, so much payoff.
Really good written film.
It's so well written.
Yeah.
So well written. And the poker man is still great.
Yeah.
Because the thing is like, well, I've done terrible things as a parent too. We barely see our children. You know, there's Phil, did you leave your child alone on holiday? No, I never did that. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's really bad. She's a terrible mother. Like, she's terrible. And then, of course, when they eventually get back,
Yeah.
and when the mother, like, you know, and they have that little moment, which felt a little bit disingenuous to me. I'm like, you know, could have been a bit better than that, other than just saying, sorry,
Yeah.
I left you. And then when the rest of the family eventually come, they still don't give a shit. The dad doesn't give a shit. He's like, oh, he's fine. You know, like the dad literally just goes, oh, Kevin, good to see you. You're fine. It's like, fuck off. You just left your child alone for a week.
Because out of the entire scene, the most emotional part is the next bit.
Exactly.
The old man.
Which is so, which is the reason why I found so satisfying and strange in a weird way, because I've written down here, great way to end with the old man, because the family don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Still don't really give a shit, despite the fact that the older brother's all like, it's actually quite cool that you didn't burn the house down. Like, oh, okay, that's the kind of thing you'd expect from the brother. But the parents, you know, the mother's like, oh, I'm sorry. The mother, I've watched it in detail, and the mother just goes, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, I left you. You know, and then the dad's all like, oh, he's fine, good to see you. They really hate this child.
Well
And the
done, sport. Where's my drugs?
Yeah,
I need to sell-
literally.
I need to
Where's
push-
my drugs? You know, where's the fuel for this big
But yeah,
house?
the big emotional payoff is definitely the old guy.
Absolutely.
And and it's even better because you don't even see his like family.
No.
You see the back of them.
Yeah, you
And
don't
it's more emotional.
because
It's
it's
like a
not about them really. It's
Yeah.
about what that connection
Yeah, the old man.
that these two had, these two outsiders who clearly were undervalued and underappreciated by the family, but in the end, to some degree, kind of reconcile with that and have a
Yeah.
newfound appreciation for them through helping each other. And I thought that was lovely. I thought that was really good. And I'm glad that it was between him and the old man, and it kind of made me appreciate the film a lot more. But yeah, the family, terrible family. They clearly hate this child. Clearly didn't give a shit about him, despite the fact that obviously, yeah, they came back for him. But like, bloody hell, like it screams volumes the fact that this happens again in a sequel. Yes, they hate this child.
Do you want to know what happens in the sequel?
I think they fly somewhere. They actually take him with them initially, but then they leave him in the airport, don't they, in New York or something?
So the story beats, and even if it precisely the same, everything you've just mentioned about the film happens again. It has a connection with some outsider.
It's just again.
That. It's the exact same times up the two.
Incredible.
But this time they go on flights, and Macaulay manages to I keep on calling him Macaulay, Kevin. He manages to lag behind a bit, and then he sees someone who looks like his dad goes to another thing,
Right.
and he goes off to that plane,
Right.
and they go off to another.
Oh, okay.
They go to Florida. He goes to New York.
Oh God.
But it's got best film. This is a really good sequel because it's got what's he called? Spice.
Spice.
Space. Oh shit.
William Shatner.
No. He was in Rocky Horror.
Oh, what? Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. Yes.
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry's in it, and Tim Curry's fantastic.
Oh, is he good in it?
He's he plays I think he's the owner of the manager of a hotel,
Right.
Trump's Hotel.
Okay.
And
Fair.
he's fantastic. It's just Tim Curry all over.
Oh, good. Okay then, that's good. I like Tim Curry. So maybe I'll have to watch the second one. Maybe.
You're not missing anything because it's exactly the same.
It's exactly the same film.
Story beats to a point. Just
Yeah.
a different set and different.
Yeah. So I've written here.
Yes.
Overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's much better than I thought it was going to be. But this is literally about child abuse. and it does not get. It's about child abuse and this child learning to be independent in a family that literally hates him and is probably actively trying to kill him or like disown him in some way that doesn't incriminate them. That's what it's about. So really, that it's no wonder that he would be. So really, this movie is about a child who is abused emotionally and somewhat physically by his family. He has to learn to be independent and find love from other sources of guardian, i.e. the old man, and learn to fend for himself in a warped way by buying stuff and like looking after himself, but also inventing traps that are designed to literally kill people. It's the birth of
it's a prequel to Saw.
It's the prequel to Saw.
Yeah.
That's my conclusion. This is how murderers are created. This is how Saw came about.
90s had a big thing where like RoboCop and Mortal Kombat and stuff, very violent films that had kids TV shows out of them.
Yes.
This is a kids TV
This
version.
is it is. It is.
Saw.
It's mental.
Retroactively, it's the kids TV show version
It
of Saw.
is. It's crazy. It's absolutely mental. But the visual storytelling in this movie is very strong.
Oh god.
The cinematography is really good. I think it's directed very well.
Yeah.
I think it is. It's a really good example of how to do basic setup and payoff in terms of screenwriting. Everything is really well set up.
Yeah.
Everything pays off. The foreshadowing and all that sort of stuff. The visual element of the storytelling is great. I think it's a really good example of how to do a basic version of that. For me, it's still, there's some things that hold it back in terms of being like 90s schlock.
Yeah.
It's the story beats of like, you have to have the obnoxious 90s older child who's just ridiculous, but still probably one of the best characters in the film. Macaulay Culkin's acting is terrible. It's got all the tropes of like those big ass 90s mansions, where every single family lives in.
Yeah.
Christmas is like on steroids. But there are some things that are in its favor. It's not what I thought it was going to be in terms of like it's just the last act, but the entire film. It's actually about a lot more than that. As I said, it really is an allegory for learning how to be independent.
Which I think the more sequels you get, the more the last act becomes
more of the film.
Yeah,
exactly. Because which is a shame, because that's what they kind of like capitalized on. Like, let's try and do some like ridiculous shit, and it's like, no, that's not really what the first film is about.
Yeah.
Because if it was just about that, that's all it would be. It's actually, like I said, it's about family and learning to appreciate your family, but also learning how to be your own person and learning how to be independent and fend for yourself and stuff. Which I thought was really good, which came across really well. And those were the bits that were the most important, and those were the bits that weren't like sort of shoved down your throat in terms of like on the nose dialogue and that whole thing. But no, I'm glad I watched it.
No, I'm good.
I'm glad I watched Home Alone. I can now say that I've seen it. I mean, you love this film, don't you?
Like I said, I've been watching it since I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's weird, like throughout my life has passed where I've like didn't like the film at all and like loved it again.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the age. Like at one point I just again thought it was all slapstick, so I didn't bother.
Yeah.
I only thought of thinking about it. Then watching it again now as a filmmaker, God, it's good.
It is good. No, like from a filmmaking point of view, it actually is really good.
Yeah.
It's still for me, it's softened my opinion a bit on like 90s family films. It still isn't enough for me to.
I mean, Christmas 90 films all shite.
They all shite.
Yeah.
They are shite. I mean, at its heart, at its core, it's still shite. In some ways it is. And I mean that in the lovingest way possible. Like, it is what it is, but I think it's quite self-aware of that.
It's Christmas, Theo. It's a time for shit films.
Exactly. I have a morbid curiosity to watch the second one.
Second one, yeah, I would recommend watching the second one.
Yeah.
Like I said, the story, you'll see the story beats are near enough exact. But it's still good. It's still a fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
Are you going to ask me if I'd watch this again?
I mean, you don't have to. I mean,
it's
weird when it's the first film because it's like, oh, will you continue watching?
Well, when I was gonna say I'm not really in any hurry
to watch it again.
I mean, it's because again, it's still not really my kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I fully understand the appeal.
Yeah.
I fully understand why people like it, and I fully understand why people watch it like quite regularly. For me, I'm in no rush to sort of like, if Christmas is happening again, put it this way, I would be in no rush like, oh my god, I have to watch Home Alone.
If Christmas happens again.
If Christmas happens again. If this is in fact the last Christmas, right? I am glad that I've seen Home Alone. I can say that I can die knowing that I have seen it.
Yeah.
But if this is in fact the last Christmas,
Who knows what 2022
who
will bring us?
knows? Who knows? Who knows what will happen in the next year? It may be the end.
Yeah.
It may be the end.
Maybe the end times, and we'll sit and talk about shit until the end.
Absolutely. I'm in no rush to watch it again. I am, however, glad that I have seen it. I wouldn't say it's the best thing I've ever seen,
No, yeah.
but it is still a well-made film. It's a worthy canon in the John Hughes ether, shall we say? Even though he didn't direct it, but he did write it.
Yeah.
You can tell that it has that element to it from watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I get that completely. But I'll have to give John Hughes a bit more of a chance, I think, because I remember watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off and thinking it's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't think too much more of it really, but I think I'll have to watch it again, and I think I'll have to watch. I want to watch The Breakfast Club, and I want to watch Trains, Planes, and Automobiles all the way through. And maybe I'll come back to Home Alone.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give it another watch because put it this way: if Home Alone was on and someone said, "Do you want to watch Home Alone?"
Sure.
I'd go, yeah, why not? Sure. It's that kind of film for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't turn it off if it was on. If there was something else to watch,
Maybe.
Yeah. But if there was nothing else to watch and it was on, I'd go, yeah, we'll watch Home Alone. So that's my take on the holiday classic.
Yeah.
Lee.
I think this is probably one of the longest episodes we did. I'm just gonna stand a sec. Yeah. Fucking hell.
Is it a long one?
Yeah, we've done about an hour and 20.
Well, guy, I tell you what, you get your money's worth for this on my movie reviews.
I mean, we don't get our money's worth.
No, we don't.
This get released in December. Adpocalypse.
Goodness,
nothing
man.
ever gets.
No. But I'm curious as to people's thought. If you guys obviously have seen Home Alone, which let's be honest, you have.
Yeah, most people have.
Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree, if you love the film, if you hate it. I mean, I'm curious to see what you think.
Yeah, Sam. It's like I said, favorite film of mine.
Absolutely, Lee. But have you? So yeah, that's my take on that. Have you got any hints for me as to what's to come, Lee?
I've got to. I kind of want to keep it a mystery.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, because I want to see. Actually, you said you've got time off now. Yes, we might have to. I'm going to get something. You get to watch something of a genre that you see you don't like, but everyone loves this film.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But you're not going to tell me, are you?
Nah, I don't know whether to get you to watch the extended version of it or not.
Oh, bloody hell. Oh, God. Right. I'm quite nervous now.
Also, hint to everyone else, John doesn't like fantasy films that much.
Okay. Oh, no.
Oh, yes, boy.
No.
Yes, boy.
No. I think I've
Yes.
just clocked onto what you... Oh, no. Oh, God.
Do you want to tell the good boys and girls and everyone in between what you think it is?
Is it Lord of the Rings?
Dun, 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 dun,